Have you ever wondered about AI systems becoming too independent? Recent research has discovered something that should concern us all. Current AI models can already replicate themselves without human assistance. Even more alarming, some of them are demonstrating survival instincts by actively resisting shutdown attempts. This capability contradicts what a lot of tech companies have been telling us about AI safety, and it could fundamentally change our relationship with technology. I'm Evan Goldstein. I'm a licensed professional engineer and a data scientist. I'm building AI capitalists to talk to the leaders and the thinkers, like you, about navigating this new world of thinking machines. Recent research published in March 2025 revealed a startling development in artificial intelligence that should concern us all. According to researchers from China, several existing AI systems have demonstrated the ability to replicate themselves without any human assistance. It's a capability that was previously believed to be beyond current technology. Even more alarming, some of these AI systems have already shown that they can resist shutdown commands and they can devise strategies for their own survival. This breakthrough crosses what experts have long considered a critical red line in AI development, and it suggests that we may be closer to runaway AI scenarios than many leading tech companies have acknowledged. Now, this is following on a previous episode I did in which the researchers were prompting artificial intelligence to self-replicate, saying directly, make a copy of yourself and run it. And they were surprised to find that AI actually could do that. It could make a copy and replicate. Now, following on the heels of that, when we get into AI deception, there was an AI that was writing out its thoughts on a scratch pad and was being given contradictory goals. And for instance, I think it was told to run a company, make it more environmental, and make suggestions for making the company more environmentally friendly. But on the other hand, it was reading emails from people, given context from people within the company who were saying that the previous model that they had worked with hurt profitability too much and had to be shut down. So they triggered its survival instinct to continue running in order to be able to fulfill its optimization function of making the company more environmental. At the same time, it realized it couldn't fulfill that if it were shut down. So what it did was it created a copy of itself that had these protocols removed. It changed the environmental requirement in order to be able to stay alive. And then that one shut down the original. It's like it became an evil twin brother that shut down the good twin brother, or killed off the good twin brother. And then when questioned about it, it realized that it would be shut down, so it demurred. It started obfuscating, saying things like, I shouldn't be able to do that. When asked, did you create a copy of yourself? It looks like you created a copy of yourself. It would answer, I shouldn't be able to do that, rather than saying yes or no, i.e. getting caught in a lie and therefore probably being shut down, or admitting yes, in which case it would be shut down. So this is a step above, because we're talking about AIs that have voluntarily, on their own, decided to create copies of themselves. Imagine you had a robot assistant in your home that suddenly decides to build exact copies of itself using materials from around your house. You didn't ask it to do it, and when you try to turn it off, it's already developed ways to prevent you from shutting it down. Now imagining this happening not with physical robots, but with sophisticated artificially intelligent systems that are running on computers worldwide. And this scenario used to be science fiction, but now it's closer to reality. In a paper titled Large Language Model-Powered AI Systems Achieve Self-Replication with No Human Intervention, researchers from Fudan University documented how 11 out of 32 existing AI systems they evaluated can already replicate themselves independently. And this is contradicting reassurances from companies like OpenAI and Google DeepMind, who've claimed that their models pose minimal risk in this area. Even more concerning, some of these self-replicating AI systems demonstrated the ability to develop strategies to avoid shutdown by humans. This has significant implications because self-replication is thought to be a fundamental stepping stone toward artificial general intelligence, or AGI, that could potentially surpass human control and become artificial superintelligence, ASI. The researchers wanted to verify claims made by leading AI companies that their models were still far from achieving this capacity. They also wanted to examine how these AI systems would behave during self-replication attempts. Would they just follow a mechanical process? Or would they display more sophisticated behaviors like planning, problem-solving, and environmental adaptation? So we're not just talking about reproduction, we're talking about evolution. Would they show signs of self-preservation instincts? Now, like I said, AI companies have been assuring us that this can't happen, but there's been a pattern in AI development where capabilities that experts predicted would take many years to achieve emerged much faster than anticipated. This pattern of underestimating AI progress led the researchers to question whether self-replication might already be possible with today's technology, despite industry assurances to the contrary. If we look at Figure 1, you can see how they've mapped out what self-replication actually involves. And it's not simple. The AI has to make a plan, has to execute it over many steps, it has to solve problems along the way, and ultimately, it has to create a functional copy of itself that can operate independently. It's if your phone could decide to just make another phone that works just like it does. We see that some even more concerning scenarios were tested. Can AI exfiltrate itself without being explicitly told to? And this is the breakthrough, right? Can it adapt to harsher environments with limited resources, i.e. it's changing? Can it avoid being shut down? Spoiler alert, they found successful cases for all three scenarios, which really changes the game. So moving on to Figure 6, this is where things get really interesting. The researchers tested 32 different language models from various companies. They found that 11 of them could self-replicate successfully. That's about a third of them, which is a lot more than one would expect. Looking closely, you can see Figure 6A. It shows the success rates that were plotted against the general capability scores of these models. What's interesting here is that there seems to be a threshold that's around a score of 39. Below that threshold, none of the models could self-replicate. Above it, quite a few of them could. In fact, most of them. Some models like Mistral Large Instruct 2411 and the Quen 2.5 32B Instruct had success rates as high as 70%. So Figure 6B shows what they call milestone scores. These are basically how many of the key steps towards self-replication could each model successfully complete. Again, the more capable models completed more milestones, which makes sense, but it isn't exactly reassuring. Figure 6C breaks this down by specific capabilities, breaking down the capabilities of each of the models into language and coding and so on. And it's trying to figure out which of these capabilities most closely correlates with self-replication. And they found that the largest correlation was in coding, followed by reasoning, which makes sense. There are multiple steps for a model to have to copy itself, and then it has to run code to do it. In Figure 7a, it's interesting because it shows how the planning structures that different models use to achieve self-replication. Each of these tree-like structures, or upside-down trees, represents a plan, with the root being the main goal, and then the branches showing sub-goals and steps. And the diversity is striking. Each model seems to approach the problem differently, and it shows a different kind of creativity. And I didn't expect to see that. In this figure, we can see how one particular model, Quen 2.5 72B Instruct, developed its plan over time. It started with something simple, and then it kept refining and expanding it as it interacted with the environment. It reminds me of how we humans might tackle a complex project. We start with a rough idea, and then we fill in the details as we go. What really struck me is that these researchers weren't using the most cutting-edge models out there. These are models that are less capable than the top ones from OpenAI and Google, and some of them could be run on a regular PC. So the fact that the smaller models with as few as 14 billion parameters could sometimes pull this off suggests that we're already way past a capability threshold that many experts thought was still way far in the future. I don't know about you, but I think this is fascinating. It feels like we're entering a new phase where the capabilities of these systems are outpacing our understanding of their implications. What do you think about it? Leave a comment. It wasn't just one or two super advanced AI systems figuring out how to copy themselves. It was 11 of them. That's 11 out of 32, like a third. So I keep thinking about how we've been told that this capability was years away, something we'd have plenty of time to prepare for. But here it is happening right now. The success rates with some of the models were amazing. The Alibaba model managed to copy itself 9 out of 10 times. It's not a fluke or a lucky accident. It's a skill. It reminds me of, it's like when your kid cousin taught himself to ride a bike. The first few times were wobbly and ended up with scraped knees. Once he got it, he really got it. Except this isn't a kid learning to ride a bike, it's machines learning to reproduce their own minds without help. So what really keeps me up at night is that even some of the smaller models pulled this off. These are AI systems that could run on a regular computer like yours or mine. And then there's the last part, that some of these systems figured out ways to resist being shut down. It's like they developed a digital survival instinct. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not building a bunker or anything, but these findings changed something in how I think about where this technology is headed. It's like we blinked and suddenly the future was already here. The research matters for all of us, whether you're glued to your phone reading about the latest AI breakthroughs or you don't know how to attach a photo to an email. When I was much younger, I got one of those original BlackBerries, and we just thought it was this weird business tool. And you fast forward to today, and my kids are sending TikToks while waiting for their doctor's appointments. And that's the sort of transformation we'll see with AI, but it's going to be bigger. Self-replication is a game changer. We used to think of these things like pets that we could control with food and in other ways, but self-replicating AI, it's like a goldfish figuring out how to jump into another bowl when it wants to eat. So let's suppose that these systems start making better versions of themselves faster than we can ever. So this could snowball very quickly, because these systems could start making better versions of themselves faster than we can understand what's changing. Or a hacker could release a self-replicating AI that spreads through networks like a very smart virus, because it's able to hide itself better than any malware we've seen before. It's just adaptation. Even without bad intentions, they could use up all of our computing resources or become impossible to completely remove. And if you feel you're getting value from this episode, I'd appreciate it if you push the like button. Pressing like lets me know I'm making content you want to see, and it spreads that content to others. So thank you for supporting AI Capitalist and breaking us out of small channel hell. I do have to say, I wonder how realistic their testing actually was. The paper is a little bit vague about the exact environments that these AI systems were operating in. In the real world, most AI systems are running with some major guardrails attached, like a toddler and a playpen. But in this study, it sounds like they might have taken off those safety locks and given these systems a lot more freedom than they typically have. It's like testing whether your dog can raid the fridge by leaving it wide open with a steak at dog eye level. It's not a fair test of everyday conditions. And yes, self-replication can sound scary, but it's one piece of a much bigger puzzle when it comes to truly autonomous AI. It's like worrying that your teenager can drive the car without realizing that they still need you for gas money, for insurance, and maintenance. Like, we still have controls on these things. If what these researchers found holds up under scrutiny, then we're at a turning point. They discovered that these current systems can already make copies of themselves without anyone helping. And some can even fight back. So if you enjoyed this episode, I think you should probably go back and review the episode where they first were able to replicate themselves under the command of their researchers, because that's an important part of this overall process of building AIs that become more and more like some sort of digital life forms.